Hey, what is up guys? Today we're checking out the PlayArt Kai Final Fantasy XII Gabranth. So let's take a look at the packaging, then we will take a look at the figure. Stay tuned guys. Okay, so here's the front of the packaging, and I've also got the packaging for Balthier and Fran. So yeah, I love the boxes for all of these figures. Check out the color scheme, like the pink, purple and blue color. It's super nice. But today we are taking a look at Gabranth. So let's take a look at what we have here. Super nice image on the front. We have Final Fantasy XII, PlayArt Kai, Gabranth. And let's take a look at the sides of the packaging. We have some nice images, nice artwork of the character, and on the back once again we have nice screenshots of the figure itself. And as usual, let's take a look at the insides of the box. So yeah, we do have a bit of text here, so once again, if you guys want to read this, then feel free to pause the video and read. Quite a bit of text here on this character. And here's everything that comes with the figure. So of course we have the outer packaging, and we have a couple pairs of hands and this little connector piece to connect up both of the blades. Okay, so here is the figure, and I've got to say, it's a pretty nice piece. We have some nice sculpting and nice paint jobs, but I don't know what it is. I've never really been, too interested in Gabranth. He's never really taken me by surprise. I feel like he's probably the least favorite villain out of the whole entire Final Fantasy franchise. Overall, he's a pretty good character and he looks super cool, but yeah, he's a bit underwhelming. It's kind of hard to explain. But anyhow, here's a look at the figure from the front. I would say the figure turned out really well. It's also a pretty large figure and it's really heavy because it's the biggest figure of the Final Fantasy XII line. And so here's the head sculpt of the figure, or the helmet I should say. It's a pretty cool design. It looks very mechanical, almost like a robot. But yeah, it's got some nice paint job in there, very metallic. It looks like it's almost made out of metal. It's definitely a very cool design. I see many inspirations here. It looks almost like a samurai, like a knight. And moving down here to the breastplates, armor. Look at the shine, look at the glare which it gives off. It looks very high quality, very rich, which I love about this figure. It's definitely got probably the best paint job out of all the Final Fantasy XII figures. I thought both of the blades were identical, but they're actually very different from each other, as you guys can see. This one right here is a lot more mechanical looking, and it's a lot thicker, a lot bigger, whereas this one's more thin, and more like a single piece of metal. So some of the pieces on this figure are made out of a soft piece of plastic, such as the cape, which I'll give you guys a look at a little bit later on. And here's the back of the figure, and check out all the detail, all these pieces of armor on the shoulder and the elbow. And here's a look at this amazing looking cape piece with this really cool design. Once again, it's very shiny, very glossy in the lights. And it's also made out of a soft piece of plastic, as I mentioned. And there's a look at the bottom of the boots. So yeah, that's the back of the figure. So here's the side of the figure, just in case you guys want to check it out. And we have a nice look at the profile of the face. Yeah, it's definitely taken a lot of inspiration from a samurai. Looks like a samurai mask, almost. But there's a look at the armor on the arms, and a better look at the gauntlet piece. And the blades down here. And here's how the figure looks, with both of the blades connected up. And yeah, it looks super cool. It's also massive, it's almost like a spear. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward to switch out. You just take out these two tiny little connector pieces on the single blades and switch it out for the dual connector piece. So yeah, very straightforward, but here's how it looks. Guess I'll just give you guys a better look at the details on the blades. It looks almost like the engine blades from Final Fantasy 15. I guess that Final Fantasy 15 probably took inspiration from this blade right here. But yeah, that's a look at Gabranth with the dual blade. Very nice. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation for the figure. So now I've got to say, some of the joints in this figure are super stiff because it's such a bulky figure that some of the joints just don't want to move. But anyhow, let's take a look at what we have here. So as for the head sculpt, we have a ball joint in there. But as I just mentioned before, it seems like it doesn't want to move. It seems like it's trying to fight against me, trying to move it. So I don't want to move the head too much because I don't want to break it. But it seems like we have a ball joint in there, which is super tight. And it also seems like we have a ball joint at the base of the neck. Now as for the shoulders, we have these ball ratchet joints, which surprisingly have pretty good range of motion. And it seems like these here shoulder pad pieces are made out of a kind of a softer piece of plastic, and we even have some articulation in the shoulder pads. Seems like we have seems to be a ball hinge joints. So as for the elbows, we have ball hinge joints. As for the wrist, we also have a ball hinge joints. And inside the torso piece, it seems like we do have a ball joint in there, but as you guys would expect, this here piece is, even though it's made out of a softer piece of plastic, it still restricts the articulation, you know, it just doesn't want to move that much. So as for the hips, this piece is also made out of a soft piece of plastic. As you guys can see, it's kind of bendy. We also have a ball joints at the waist. As for the hips, we have these very loud ball ratchet joints, and we have a cut swivel joint at the thigh. So as for this, your knee guard, this is actually made out of a harder piece of plastic. It's not bendy at all. It's very, you know, very rigid. So as for the knee, we have a double hinge joint in there. So we have quite a nice range of motion. As for the ankle piece, we have a ball hinge joint. Now as for the cape piece, as you guys would expect, the cape is made out of a soft piece of plastic. It seems to be a ball hinge joint right there, as you guys can see. So we have quite a nice range of motion. So you can pose the figure any which way you want, and you know, you can kind of position the cape to get it in some nice dynamic poses. So overall, I would say the articulation is pretty good for such a bulky figure, but some of the joints are pretty stiff. And so this is how I display Gabranth next to some of the PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy 15 figures. So yeah, even though he's from a completely different game, I think he suits being in here because he kind of matches the color scheme of the Chukka Bros. But anyhow guys, I think it's a great figure, and if you guys are a big fan of Gabranth or Final Fantasy 12, then I think you guys will really enjoy this figure. So yeah, he's totally worth picking up. Anyhow guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these Final Fantasy figure reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy guys.